when you keep getting proven right, eventually you have to stop talking about it. Now, before the season started, you had a lot of people, experts, prognosticators, fans, you name it, was proclaiming that the LA Lakers would represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. I was one of a few people, and if you don't believe me, you can go check the records. I was one of the few people that was saying, no, this team is not going to be good. This team is going to struggle. This team is going to have issues. Now, the Sacramento Kings beat the LA Lakers for the second time this season. Now, they've already played all 4 times. They're not going to see each other again. 125-116, the Lakers had a 20-point lead, and they pissed it all away by taking bad shots, not playing defense, letting the Kings get what they want when they want. And in fact, Russell Westbrook in that game only had 8 points on 2 of 14 shooting. Not to mention the other defensive lapses when Russell Westbrook go out there, bricks up a shot, allowing, and then not only he bricks the shot, he holds a pose while he bricks the shot. All the meanwhile, his man is running on the other side of the court, already getting an easy layup or a contested 3 or whatever the case may be. Austin Reeves was hot for a stretch. But did Russell Westbrook ever bother to look for Austin Reeves? No. And this is a pattern. We saw it in the OKC game. Carmelo Anthony gets hot. Did Russell Westbrook bother to look for Carmelo Anthony? No. What does he do instead? Oh, well, he's hot. I'm going to get my own shots up to see if I can get hot too. Instead of find the open man. What's up, Stephen Brown? So it goes back to what we've been saying since August, right? That this team wasn't going to be any good, that this team was going to struggle, this team was going to be mired in mediocrity. And yet they're back at 500. And by the looks of things, they may not even make the playoffs. Now, I remember being on Ticket live stream when all them motherfucking pom-pom cheerleading motherfuckers on that panel was like, yeah, man, Lakers gonna make the playoffs. Yeah. Who's the only one that's saying that the Lakers wasn't going to make the playoffs? Me, this guy. You see, not too many people want to debate me when it comes to basketball talk. There ain't too many people that are on my level. Because see, when I look to debate someone, I look to debate someone that's on at or higher on my level. I'm not debating nobody that's below my level. A lot of them motherfuckers don't know shit about basketball. They don't know. They don't understand concepts. They don't understand tendencies. They just think a motherfucker can jump high and run fast, and all of a sudden he's good. Forget the IQ. Forget the game within the game. Forget the intricacies that go along with team chemistry and all the other stuff. Forget all that. Let's just look at a motherfucker that can run fast, jump high, and can get a highlight reel dunk on Sports Center Top 10. And oh man, look, he's pretty good. He's one of the best players in the league. Now they got to create ways to categorize how good a player is. Oh man, he's the best two-way player in the league. Well, in the NBA, you only play two ways: offense, defense. So if you can't play on, if you can only play on one side of the ball, then how can you be a most valuable player? Guys going out there stat padding on given nights. How can they be most valuable players if they only play on one side of the ball? If that's the case, how come we're not giving defensive players enough credit? Because there are elite defensive players that don't have offensive game, that don't nearly get the shine as a highly skilled offensive player versus a player that may be lacking in defense. Huh? There's a double standard. So I could be an elite offensive player, be shoddy on defense, and get considered for MVP. But if I'm a shoddy offensive player, but an elite defensive player, I can't get the same energy. What's up, Kai Clark? Salute to you, man. The Lakers team is not good. They're not good. They don't play defense. They take bad shots. Whenever they go small, they get killed on the rebounding. So when you factor all that stuff in, I just alluded to, this is the end result. And who do we have to blame for this? Who gets the blame? Because if you ask a lot of LeBron James dicklicks, they're not getting the. LeBron can't get the blame. I mean, he's in year 19. He's doing all he can do. Yeah, man. Long time no see as well, man. Salute to you, man. I hope all is well with you too, my brother. Happy New Year to you. You ask a lot of these LeBron James dicklicks, yeah, that's what they're going to say. Well, he's in year 19. He's got all the stuff going on. You know, really not a whole lot of people stepping up. You ask a lot of Russell Westbrook fans, oh man, well, LeBron, he's not letting Russ, he's not letting Russ be Russ. So who does the blame go to for this shenanigans that's going on in LA? Who's going to accept the blame for what the fuck is going on? This team is really bad. And you want to say Anthony Davis can right the ship when he gets back. But the problem with Anthony Davis is, one, he's too hurt all the time. And two, it's not like Anthony Davis was some world beater before he got injured. It's not like AD was being some difference maker before he got injured. So even when Anthony Davis comes back, how does that solve the problem with the LA Lakers? Oh, yeah. Because, see, if you ask me, none of those players are on that team without LeBron James's approval and Anthony Davis' approval. You don't believe me? They came out last year. Matter of fact, no, yeah, it was last year or 2 years ago when they said that we have a hand on selecting the roster and we'll put our roster up against anybody. That's what they said. So how can they turn around and then say, oh, that we don't have a hand on picking the roster? Everybody on that roster was on by the approval of the king. Y'all king, not mine, y'all king. So he's asking us to keep the same energy. Well, guess what? We're keeping the same energy. The team sucks. Now, a lot of you guys out there that was fronting off at the mouth talking about, oh, we need to give this team time and to work out the chemistry issue and all this other stuff, right? So we've given y'all time. The season's about halfway over. What's your excuse is going to be now? Right. AD won that one championship. Now he rests on his laurels. So what is it? What's it going to take? To me, Russell Westbrook got to get up out of there. He got to get up out of there. The Lakers need a point guard that's going to put people in the right spots. Now, the one thing I will give LeBron James credit for, he did ask the Lakers to go get Chris Paul. The Lakers said no. So the Lakers really fucked up on that one. So I will give LeBron James credit on that front. He did try to get them to get Chris Paul, but they didn't want to take on the contract. And what Chris Paul doing now? Oh yeah, Chris Paul got the Phoenix Suns the second best team in the Western Conference. They're probably already the best team in the Western Conference, but they're up there. Them and Golden State are neck and neck. But that's the Chris Paul effect, because Chris Paul has taken bad teams and made them into very good ones. He did it with the Clippers. He did it with the OKC Thunder. He did it with the Phoenix Suns. Oh yeah, when he was with the Hornets made the playoffs under Chris Paul too. So with that, right now, notice I did not say the Houston Rockets, right? The Houston Rockets were already a playoff team before they got him. That's why I intentionally left the Houston Rockets out, just in case anybody had any kind of questions of why I left the Houston Rockets out, right? But every team Chris Paul has been on, their teams have made the playoffs. And before Chris Paul got there, those teams were perennial horrible teams at that. Now, back to the Lakers, right? Now, that's the one thing I will give LeBron credit for. The Lakers said no when LeBron requested them to go get Chris Paul. Where do we start, right? I've already alluded to the fact they don't play defense. They go small. They get killed on the rebounding on the glass. The transition defense is horrible, especially Russell Westbrook. For a guy that likes to come down and put on highlight reel dunks, all the meanwhile, his man is already on the other side of the court getting layups, uncontested threes, all that other stuff, right? I mean, in the Christmas Day game against Brooklyn, they let Patty Mills go off for damn near 30 points. And all of his points came off three-point attempts. Because what is West, instead of, hey, look, you got a three-point threat in Patty Mills, he already hit like 5 or 6 threes on you. That's the guy you might want to stay home on, instead of trying to cheat and jump passing lanes so you get a fast break dunk. Now they had interest in Gary Trent Jr. and Jeremy Grant. But I don't see Jeremy Grant leaving Detroit. And what are you willing to give up for Gary Trent Jr.? Because Gary Trent Jr. fall in the same category as Buddy Hield. He's a scoring-dependent wing. He's scoring-dependent. He's scoring dependent. Gary Trent Jr. is scoring dependent. So if his shot's not falling, he don't rebound, he don't get assists, he don't put up no other peripheral stats to offset his shooting woes on that particular night. So he's practically worthless. Now, who are they willing to give up? I don't think they have the assets to give up anybody right now. So, if you ask me, this team is, I said what I said before, and I'm not getting off of that. I'm not getting off what I said. I stand by what I said. This team is in trouble. This team is not going to go anywhere, and a lot of people are going to look like buffoons at the end of the day. That's what I stand on that. You guys let me know what y'all think about this. Matter of fact, Kai, I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and I'm gonna let you in, bro. I'm gonna let you in, and you and I gonna chop it up, man. There's one person who I love hearing talk basketball is Kai Clark, man. Him, Gideon. I love listening to these two guys I really like hearing talk basketball is Kai Clark and Gideon. Shout out to Gideon. And of course, my brother's too raw for TV. You know, all the brothers. You know what I'm saying? All the brothers I rock and associate with. Here, I mean, this is inexcusable. And they didn't take advantage of this cupcake schedule that they had to begin with. To start the season, the Lakers had a cupcake schedule, and they couldn't take advantage of it. And this is where we at right now with this team. They stink. Just waiting on my brother to get in the building, and we're going to chop it up. Here we go. What's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me good?
Waiting on my brother to get in the building.
Hold on 1 second. Let me check something real quick.
Here we go. What's that?
All right. There was an echo.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, I could, bro.
All right. Yeah, man. When I look at him, you're pretty much with the team where, okay, on paper, a lot of people just saw all these names. You know, you have LeBron James, you have AD, you have Russell Westbrook, you have Carmelo Anthony. But the problem is the team itself is really old, and they got away from their core principles that helped them win the championship in 2020. You know what I'm saying? I always kind of look at it like they had the Krabby Patty recipe. If you ever seen like a SpongeBob episode, you know what I'm saying? They had the Krabby Patty recipe, and they traded in for the chum bucket. Okay, so what does LeBron James need to run an optimal offensive system throughout his career, right? Because he runs a LeBron system. It's predicated on having 3-and-D wing defenders and a stretch big man that can roll hard to the basket and hit the three. That's literally all LeBron James needs. So LeBron knows this, but he went away with it because of his pride and ego. He's like, let a guy like Russell Westbrook, if I can win with Russell Westbrook, that will further boost my legacy and be like, hey, look, this is what I was able to do, yada, yada, yada. But you fail to retain the key championship puzzle pieces defensively. You get rid of a KCP, you get rid of an Alex Caruso, and those guys are now on other teams prospering. KCP in Washington, Alex Caruso on the Chicago Bulls, and you look at what they're doing defensively as a unit with the Caruso, with Alonzo Ball, you know, with some of those other guys. So now you have no perimeter defense, and on top of that, you replace those young perimeter wing defenders with older guys that haven't really been able to play many games, like a Trevor Ariza. Carmelo Anthony has never been a defensive stalwart in his career. You know what I'm saying? So I look at the Lakers, and that's why early in the season, like you mentioned, LB and others, and I mentioned early preseason, that it's going to be a problem when they were losing games because they just looked old and they looked slow because they were. Jordan Poole was cooking them. The Phoenix Suns was cooking them. The Memphis Grizzlies is cooking them. And so I think ultimately what it comes down to is you have no real tradable assets that other teams want. And therefore, they're not going to be able to acquire anybody who's going to be impactful to that team that's going to help them prosper and win a championship. Because last time I checked, if you're a Lakers fan or the Lakers or as an organization, their whole key for the Lakers is to win an NBA championship, bring an NBA championship back to that city, et cetera, et cetera. And so now you got away from the formula that helped you do that in the past, and so they're gonna suffer. So ultimately, for me, man, I look at their ceiling as literally the first round. I do think they're gonna make the playoffs. Why? Because LeBron James, outside of his first 2 years, has always made the playoffs, and he's playing at a very high level at age 37. So props to him. And I think the West is significantly weaker than the East this year. The balance of power has shifted. The West is just very top heavy. So I think ultimately they'll get in, as like a 7, maybe even 8 seed, etc. They'll teeter tot on those 2 seeds and wind up probably playing a team like Memphis if Utah stays at the 3 spot, or any of those other teams that are younger with young perimeter guys. And I think there's going to be an ugly series where they get run off the court in like 5 games, maybe even get swept. But I respect LeBron enough where he would probably get like a game. So I think that's where it's headed, without being too long-winded. But I think people are just it's fool's gold, right? I think people are just trying to hold on to any type of hope. The people that don't really understand the game at any type of like visceral level, you know what I'm saying? So that's the Lakers in a nutshell for me, man.
Yep, I agree. And the Lakers right now, I mean, they're old, they're slow, they don't. There's no team chemistry. Carmelo Anthony didn't even play last night. So there's the injury aspect of it. So it's like when you look at it, it just doesn't see any. You don't see what evidence. You don't see the evidence that will point to them. Oh man, see that's the team that you don't want to see in the playoffs.
Right. None. There's nobody that they don't fear the Lakers. I think I actually watched a clip, and he's this guy, he's all over the place. But Jay Williams actually did make sense early in the season. I heard Jay Williams say that nobody fears the Lakers, and people are like, oh my goodness, how can you say that? You're hating on LeBron. I'm like, that has nothing to do with LeBron. He said the team. Like literally, he's talking about the team, like you mentioned, LB. Like nobody really, there's nothing that says, oh my goodness, we have to get up for this team. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're beating, those below 500 teams. But even then, they were awarded the one of the easier schedules in the league the first half of the season, and they were struggling with those teams. And then people were like, well, wait till we get guys back. Well, you're getting guys back, and still you're struggling. And then you look at AD, which I had mentioned earlier in the comment section. You look at a guy like AD. AD is a complete disappointment. And it's sad if you're LeBron James, because obviously you were an integral piece of getting him to come to that team, but AD lacks a championship drive. And so what I had said in the comment section, I said, if you look at AD, right, and you look at Kevin Garnett. Now, Kevin Garnett was a superior defender in terms of versatility because he picked up guys 94 feet, but they have very, very similar offensive games. KG's game was predicated on hitting the long 2 ball. Anthony Davis is predicated on that and the mid-range. They both had the mid-range. They both could defend at a high elite level. AD just takes more threes. They both could handle the ball. And they had similar situations where they were, being on teams that weren't, surrounded by a lot of talent. So they go off and they try to win a chip. KG won one, but KG had a defensive intensity and a championship drive that AD lacks. AD got his ring and then he got satisfied. And so that's what people need to be, really speaking on. Like in the media, they're like, oh, what's wrong with AD? No, he's satisfied. He's happy that he got his ring. He hates his body. He absolutely hates his body. He always wanted to be a point guard, never wanted to be a big. Just had a crazy growth spurt. So that's why he always screams like Tina Turner when he gets hit. You know what I'm saying? And so now LeBron can't rely on him. That's the only player on the team that, while he deserves a lot of blame, I don't blame LeBron for, because it's like, okay, well, wait a second, you're not going to show up, bro? Like what? But everyone else on that roster, yeah, it's your fault because you constructed that roster. You brought in a Russell Westbrook. You got rid of your perimeter defense. You know what I'm saying? And then for me, LB, my last point is the fact that you posture on social media over and over again. You put out these tweets, you say keep the same energy, but then when you lose, you're walking off the court early. You're not shaking hands. There's a level of decorum that you should always have, when you're playing basketball, win or lose, but you can't posture before the season. And then when things don't go your way, you want to, go into witness protection. You know what I'm saying? So the Lakers, yeah, man, they're a mess. Nobody fears them. AD, honestly, with all due respect, he doesn't even care anymore. I honestly believe the only person that wants to win on that team, with all due respect, is LeBron, even though he messed the team up, and Carmelo Anthony. I believe Carmelo Anthony truly once won a championship. I think there's no doubt about that. But what we saw was feel like he uh, lost steam. He blew whatever he had early in the season in those like first 15, 20 games. And so now he's just, up and down occasional and stuff like that. And so for him it's sad because everybody would love to see a guy like Melo and everything that he's endured um get a championship ring. But the team, the Lakers, they're not a championship contender.
Nope, not at all. Sterling Young, what you got?
Definitely right. Cause every Laker fan, they're waiting. They need to know that they're waiting for anticipation on what AD will bring. But AD's a very good player. However, he needs to strengthen those legs because this idea, that he falls on the ground almost every time and jumps for the ball is not right. Because first it shows weakness, and next it shows looking for injury. So I feel like they need to get a physical trainer or lower body strength trainer to help him build like that. And also, for Russell, his shot selection, it's almost childish, honestly, because you could live with, you can't live with 4 turnovers a game every shot you play, and then average, and then barely, average some defensively in his effort though, but his mistakes are just, beneficial, and the opposition that's scoring, but the more the team is like, it's clearly going down because the only thing that's keeping this team together is the coaches, that locker room being so similar, and for LeBron, I feel like LeBron, he just knows trying to get the record. That's how I honestly feel. He's trying to break the Korean record, and just trying to like wear himself out. And, like no matter if you like no matter if you score like 20 or 30 or 40 points in the game, like your team is losing. And seeing how you looking at seed right there, um being in the 8th seed 21-21, that's bad coming from the team, coming from the players that you have. You should have been in the top 5 seed, and seeing that proves everybody's point. And um it and it's just a mess, you know it's just a mess, definitely the mess. um um Also, for Frank, for Frank Vogel, Frank Vogel, I feel like if he would have kept Dwight Howard on that play, would have kept them on that court, maybe they would have won. Maybe they would have won against the Kings. You know, I know. Also the reason why I said no Frank Vogel because and who because he's a coach that watches and do nothing. Because if his superstar ain't not performing, he's gonna he's if your superstar is not performing well and he's not doing good, you should replace him. You should get him out the game. Just look at the game with the Grizzlies. The bench warmers were so happy they played, they nearly caught up. And what was Ellington doing in the bench for most of the games? You know, that's why I feel I have a problem. That's what I have a the problem with this team is because I always say to myself is like how many brutal rosters change will the Lakers make and still the situation still doesn't improve. Um, because how many more you want? That was the question. I said how many more you want to get what you want to go. The goal was because it looks like it look like a playhouse.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree, guys. Like, and I'm glad you brought up Frank Vogel because I know a lot of people down this as I go down my like mental Rolodex on this whole entire thing, it's like people want to mention, this person's want to blame, this person's to blame, but it's a collective effort. Even though LeBron put the team together, so he should have the most onus of the blame. But I'm glad you brought up Frank Vogel because lineups, right? So with Vogel's not a bad coach, right? Because he went to an Eastern Conference Finals, I believe, twice, right? He won a championship. So how many coaches can actually say that, right? The issue is he lacks the personnel to run his defensive system because if you go through all his career, his teams, for the most part, when he has a personnel, he's like the Mike Brown, a defensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Now, people say Mike Brown's not a leader of men. He's a defensive coordinator, not a head coach. I always think that's a funny joke, but you could say that. But I believe Vogel actually is both. He's a coordinator and a coach, but he lacks the personnel because, once again, they got rid of Caruso, they got rid of KCP and some other guys. However, to your point, the guys that you do have on there, that's still no excuse to put together bad lineups. It's like, are you just trying to sell it in because you feel like there's a sabotage attempt on your job, which there may be, you know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story for another day. But still, you still have to, once again, there's a level of professionalism and just intellect and acumen that you should have when putting your lineups together. Like some of the lineups he's put together have been horrible. I do like
Right.
when I
Remember the one rotation he had Rondo and Westbrook on the line in the court at the same time? I'm like, what are you doing?
yeah, LB. And that was early in the season too. He was
Right.
doing that just off the bat. It's crazy because you look at it and it's like, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, it's like some of the lineups, it's like the personnel makes no sense. I like when he pulls Westbrook because Westbrook to me, and I'll be honest, I think I might have said this on one of your other streams where I never liked Russell Westbrook. Now, some people used to like him and then they don't like him anymore. Some people were always fans of him and never stopped being fans. I never believed in Russell Westbrook. His game was just weird to me. He could always attack the basket very strongly and aggressively, but he never actually improved the way Derrick Rose improved, right? Derrick Rose, I actually talked to one of my friends who's from Chicago, and he's a huge Derrick Rose fan. And we're like, Derrick Rose is 10 times a better player than he was his MVP season. He just lacks the athleticism. What I mean by better is he's smarter. He plays at a certain pace. He can change the pace of the game. He can play, make, et cetera, et cetera. He just doesn't have that, elite athleticism when he won the MVP. And so that was what Russell Westbrook should have evolved in, what we have been talking about for years. He never really evolved his game. And so now you look at it and you get a guy like Rondo in there, right? And he gets you a lead. You take Rondo out, you put in a Westbrook, and they're losing. If they ever get up 15 or 12 points or 20 points, they're losing the leads. It's like if you have a computer and you have a virus in your computer, right? It's like the craziest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people talk about his impact. He has a negative impact on the game. And so I feel like for his legacy, guys, this is going to go down on his legacy at the end of his career. It's like you've been on 4 different teams. Now you're not helping teams win. LB said last year with the Wizards that once he got into the playoffs, he resorted to the same old thing that he always does. You know what I'm saying? So like the team itself absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. The only way they were going to actually really win games is if they did what they said, in the preseason press conferences with Melo and Rondo and LeBron and Russ about buying in, you know what I'm saying, and holding people accountable and all that kind of stuff. And that sounds nice. Yeah, it sounds nice, you know what I'm saying? But you actually have to execute and do it on the court. But LeBron, like the other guy said, he's trying to chase Kareem's scoring record. And hey, records are meant to be broken. Go get it, but win games. You know what I'm saying? Russ, he cares about his triple doubles. He always has. Melo wants to win, but he doesn't have enough gas. And AD is mentally checked out because he, quite frankly, with all due respect, he doesn't.
Yo, what's good, LB?
Hey, hold on a second.
Yeah. I'm over, but yeah, he doesn't give a damn. AD doesn't give a damn. He's already won his championship. So I feel like the goals, like LB and everyone, like the goals of the team, everyone has their own personal goal, and that's also another, I think, underlying issue that hasn't been addressed in like the mainstream media. So yeah.
Well, of course they're not going to address that issue because, you know, who you see in the media? You see a lot of LeBron James acolytes in the media, whether it be Kendrick Perkins, Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Richard Jefferson, that cue ball head motherfucker. All those guys in the media has an impact on, and that's another thing I'm gonna do a video on about how media has an impact on these athletes and statuses and all that, right? That video is going to come later. But if you see right here on the screen right here, Lakers are 6-13 against teams above 500, 15-8 against the Guppies, right? Compared to a team I was banging on the other day, the Brooklyn Nets, they're 13-11 against teams above 500, right? I mean, mediocre, but still a winning record. 13-3 against the Guppies. You got to take care of the Guppies. When you lose 8 games against teams you have no business losing to, and you surviving cliffhangers against teams you have no business surviving cliffhangers with, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have it's going to be a big issue of me taking you seriously as an NBA Finals contender. Now, let's go to one of my favorite websites, Basketball Reference, right? Because see, I don't want to just spout out stuff without context, right? Because I don't want no one coming out here talking about, oh, LB, you just being a hater, LB. You know what you talking about. All right. Because you got people out here spouting that nonsensical gibberish. 4th in points per game, 27th in points per game. That means they're giving up points. They're not playing defense. They're not playing no defense. You're 3rd to last in the league in points allowed. You're not a very good defensive team. Now, to the point of Kai Clark, Frank Vogel is the defensive coach, right? You're one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and you're a defensive coach, right? The numbers and the results speak for themselves. What are we paying you for, right? Look at the defensive rating. Middle of the league. Offensive rating, one of the worst, despite running at a very fast pace. Now, a lot of that has to do with Russell Westbrook being on the court, all right? Now, if you see the injury report, Anthony Davis out, Kendrick Nunn ain't played the game all year, and Melo's out. So, and this is the result that we have. Go ahead, wait, what you got?
Yo, what's good, LB? Shout out to the panel, shout out to the chat. I'm smoking on that Chicago Bull Pack right now. It's pretty good.
We're not talking about them right now.
I know, I'm just letting you know, and just putting it out there. But the Lakers, man, y'all boy got to get them. Look, man, them boys still in the playoff hunt. Y'all boy got to chill. Like I said, bro, let that shit flush out. If after the deadline they still moving like how they is, then we got a different story. But we still have too many hands to pull. We got too many cards we can flash out on these niggas that niggas don't know about yet. Trade deadline, a la 1. Fucking buyout, a la 2. Like I said, look at how they using these 10-day contracts that's not a count to the cap. So it's like you getting a tryout for a basketball game that you had to pay for this nigga. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? As in like the cap wise, you know what I'm saying? You still not to pay that nigga, but in the cap wise, you have to be double. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, patience is a virtue. But for me, I call patience is a value. Be valuable patiently, bro. That shit gonna come and gonna fold out. The nigga still.
Hey, whoa. Hold on. Time out. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. Now, I remember a certain individual on this panel right now. Wait, what? Huh? That's them right there. Yeah, you. I remember you saying something along the lines of, before the season starts, we got to give them at least 30 games. Well, we're way past that. No, not 30 games, 25 games. We've given them that. We passed that 25 game mark. We're on like game 42 now, 43. And now you moving the goalposts, talking about waiting to the trade deadline? You must be smoking in that bull pack right now.
I'm just saying, like, I'm being realistic though. Let's be honest though. Like, I think y'all boys is just like impatient. You know what I'm saying? I like y'all meals microwave. I like my shit cooked. I like my shit baked. I like my shit seasoned. Let that shit play out, man. It's a season for a reason. Let that shit
So
spice
now
up.
we gotta wait till the end of the season, let it play out.
Nah, I'm just saying, look how like the way y'all coming at it, it seemed like it's the end of the season. I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute. It's not even like it's not
I'm
even
using
all-star
your
break.
words against you. You said we give them 25 games, 25 to 30 games, and we'll see how it plays out. Okay, we're on game 43.
Still, they still in the playoff seats. So I don't know. That's a good thing. I think that's to me. You know what I'm saying? If they was like, you know, like Portland, or as in like at the bottom of the barrel type of shit, then like okay, you got me.
They might as well.
See, that's what I'm saying. They might as well. Don't mean they really is. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, boy. Be patient. I know y'all boy want them glorified so quick, and then when they do get quick and dominant, y'all niggas complain. So you gotta choose one, man. Let that shit season up.
Nah, so with all due respect,
okay. So you try. So what you telling me is you want me to wait longer to make my assessment. That what you trying to tell me?
I say wait after the buyout. After the buyout, after all my cards been played, then you can go ahead and let loose.
All right. So when I do that now, are you going to say, well, we got to wait till the end of the season, right? Are you going to say that? You can say, oh man, we got to wait till the end of the season play out there. We got to go to the snow cook.
Come on, LB. Come on, man. You reaching on that one, big dog. You reaching on that one, big dog. I'm gonna call a foul on that.
We gotta be accountable to each other. We have to be accountable to each other, right? If I say something that could be considered outlandish, right? Aren't you going to use that against me when the time comes? All right, then. Look, when I put my face on the camera, my credibility's on the line every day.
Now, what I'm gonna do, LB, at that moment, because I'm a different brother, I will talk to you about it. I go over the situation with you, and then we just going on to solve from that situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna use it against you because that's not gonna help us both grow. You know what I'm saying? That'd be me petty, and I'm not on that level. You know?
Well, I ain't being petty.
I'm saying I'll be petty. I'll be petty if I use it against you. If you're just trying to learn the game, because the game is growing, so we grow with it. Sometimes there's mistakes. Sometimes there's not sunny days. But like I said, we just gotta take in and learn from the situations and go forward. Just like how the Brooklyn Nets, what the fudge?
We're not talking about Brooklyn Nets right now.
That's it though.
Keep that tout for another video. All right,
I got you. I'm gonna keep that tout.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to interject real quick. With all due respect, what's your name? The guy who just came in.
What's your name? My name is Wait What? Huh? If you want to say my last name.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Kai. Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, with all due respect, I always say I'll quote one of my favorite rappers, Lupe Fiasco, once said, "The truth is limitless in its range. If you drop a T and look at it in reverse, it can hurt. Look at the grimaces of the pain." And when I look at the Lakers, they're in pain, man. They have the injuries. You have an all-time great player in LeBron James, right? And before you came in, I said they used to have the Krabby Patty formula, and he traded in for the Chum Bucket formula. What happens is, yeah, what happens with the Lakers is there's a level of objectivity that people have to have with the team, and we're already halfway through the season. And before the season, these same questions and these same issues that the Lakers had, they're having now. And so that's pretty much what they're going to be for the remainder of the season. Because when you look at the trade market, you look at the buyout market, all those different things, there's nobody from their team, any valuable asset that they have, that is going to actually turn them into a championship contender. As presently constructed, the Lakers aren't a championship contender. All the offseason, the media disrespected the defending champions, which are the Milwaukee Bucks. They put two teams ahead of them, you know what I'm saying? And all these different things. And the Lakers, I think he fell out or he dipped. But either way, their roster construction isn't a championship roster. Like we know that to be the case, and people need to actually be willing to accept that. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're trying to hold on to some hope that something's going to happen. I'll give another example, guys. The Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets were considered contenders before Jamal Murray went down, correct? They were also considered contenders, excuse me, during the bubble, correct? When they had Jamal Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr. What happened this season? Jamal Murray hasn't been there. Jokic has been putting up MVP type numbers, right? Just like LeBron's been putting up MVP type numbers, but the Denver Nuggets are significantly ranked higher in the rankings despite no Jamal Murray, despite Michael Porter Jr., who was supposed to be a steal of the draft, being out, right? So that gives you like another 16, 18 points per game, okay? And two guys that can create their own shot, the two best shot creators on that team, outside of obviously Will Barton, who's also missed games. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just say, oh, well, wait and do all these different things when you already have the facts already in front of you, right? You already have another MVP candidate in Jokic, whose team is better. You have Luka Doncic, who's missed games, he's came into the season out of shape, right? And so you look at the Dallas Mavericks are ahead of the Lakers. You look at the Denver Nuggets are ahead of the Lakers. The Warriors are in another stratosphere because they maintain their identity and the way their blueprint, how they build rosters through the draft and through player development. The Lakers never developed any of their players since Kobe Bryant. Let's be real. They got rid of D'Angelo Russell. They got rid of a Lonzo Ball. They got rid of a Julius Randle. They got rid of a Brandon Ingram. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of all their draft picks within 2 to 3 years, with the exception of obviously like Julius Randle and how that went down. So, and they are all having success on other teams. So the Lakers, they don't even have any youth, anyone to really rely on who can give them a spark outside of Austin Reeves. Yeah, Austin Reeves is nice, but all championship contenders have a great role player. The problem with the Lakers is he's a great role player on a bad team. The team is just bad. And people just need to get that through their skulls, man. It's just a bad team. You know what I'm saying? The Warriors are in a completely different stratosphere. Now they have Klay Thompson back. You have Steph Curry, who's the most impactful point guard right now because just him standing on the court alone draws multiple attention, right? They have multiple wing defenders and a Gary Payton II, Gary Payton's son, a great wing defender, right? And an Andre Iguodala, You have Jordan Poole. You have Otto Porter Jr., right? Klay doesn't even have to do anything. You have three-point shooting. You have off-ball movement. You have versatility, right? You have defense, communication, championship leadership. You get leadership from Draymond. You get leadership from Iggy. You get leadership from the coaching staff. It's insane. And then you go to the Phoenix Suns, which I'm sure you've mentioned LB before. They have a three-headed monster in Ayton and Booker and Chris Paul with leadership. You have Monty Williams, a coach who I believe you said should have been coach of the year last year. Okay. So like there's a level of there's a tiers, right? There's a top echelon and the bottom echelon, and the Lakers are on that bottom echelon. And then you have Memphis, a young up and coming team who fears nobody, right? So they definitely don't fear the Lakers because they don't fear anybody else, right? You have Ja Morant who puts pressure and attacks the rim relentlessly. You get back a Dylan Brooks who's an 18-point per game scorer who can defend. You saw what he did against Steph Curry in the play-in tournament last year. Steph Curry eventually got off in the fourth quarter because Steph Curry's an all-time great, but he did a great job through 3 quarters of Steph Curry. You have a Jaren Jackson Jr. You have that other guy who's a sharpshooter. You have Zaire Wade. You have all these different guys. So the Lakers, they're just not on that level, and people need to accept that. We don't need to wait to see anything. Halfway through the season, we already know what they are. You know what I'm saying? So unless somebody can literally give me, you, or anyone else on this panel like a breakdown of what type of players that they can get that's going to have some type of miraculous change on the team, I would love to hear it. But until then, the Lakers are what they are. They're at 500. Quite frankly, they're lucky to be 500 if we're going to be real. You know what I'm saying? And that's based off the I guess you could say, quote unquote, greatness of LeBron being able to at least maintain the team somewhat level afloat. So yeah, this whole you said he said wait 30 games and it's already been 42 games. Like that's, quite frankly, it's hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even standing by your statement. So yeah, the Lakers, the team is done. We already know what they are, and we're just watching, LeBron chase the scoring record at this point. So that's all I had to interject and say, man.
Oh, and not to mention, Memphis I think they're the only team that's beaten both Golden State and Phoenix this season up to this point. What you got, Sterling Young? What you got to add?
I feel, like I said, definitely folks on the score side also, they always say, the shooting. With me, it's like the shooter's not the issue. I feel like, they have multiple guys shoot around like 40%, and they need defenders, and also chemistry. You can't have chemistry with all these players. You don't know, and and also it's just around a bad team. Like he said, 25 or 30 games. Okay, it's been 25 or 30 games. They have been more worser than before, because now it's more worse. They dropped down to a seed. And being in the A play, that's not a play. That's not like a playoff pitcher. They in the playoff picture. That's worse. They might not even make it to the playoff. So so that's the problem. That's the problem. Oh, that's the problem with people. No, that's all. The problem that I'm having is that how can y'all fix this? Is no and then and these people like really are keep saying, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, don't worry about it. No, we good. We good. We just need, this and that. Well, it's been about later in the games. What they have improved. It's basically nothing. It just gotten worser, worser, and worser. So I feel like that's the most problem that's the most problem and confusing I'm getting from these, Laker fans or people that knows that quote unquote knows the basketball thing, basketball is what are you doing? That's what I'm really, confused about what no what Way was said, what Way was said. And also it is totally embarrassing, you know. Um um Also, definitely for like you said, like what Kai said about no Russ is like it's like I wouldn't say, like I won't picture, effort. It's more like the beginning of end of Russ athleticism. Like he can't out jump and overpower, his the way when he defends and when he go one on one with the person. Because identically he have less of explosion. Because dunks were pretty common like a few years ago. I think he just only risen now why he has a lot of indecision while jumping in the season, and also his free throwing, turnover is coming bad, and also for Braun, people always brag about the points he scored and the way he getting triple double instead of not just focus on him not playing defense the whole game every time games they play. They need to stop, saying everyone play bad but him. Everybody, good but him. If you win as a team, you lose as a team, and his lack of defense played a part of that. Losing numbers of things did. So what? He scored 35. So what? He went 42. So what? He went triple double. That didn't help them come out with a win. He just focused, like I said, I'm just saying he just focused on passing Kareem. That's all. Cause cause now, because once he get that record, it's gonna burn him out. And and once it burned them out, they done. And so that's what I'm really, confusing and worried about. Like the Lakers ain't winning no more rings, no winning, and they probably not gonna no win at all if they keep playing like this. No, so that's what I'm very definitely concerned, but not so shocking wise.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like you mentioned, like the defense, and we talked about it. Getting rid of a KCP, getting rid of a Caruso, and we look at LeBron and just the way the team is constructed. And one thing I think we can agree with is when we look at the point guard play. So with Russ, right? Yeah, his athleticism is waning, it's declining. I actually and I go back to the when they played the. I'm gonna go back to Russ's timeline. Remember when he was on with OKC with Paul George? I remember the second year with him and Paul George when they faced Dame in the playoffs. Russ, if I remember it, like he literally, I remember I watched that game with that series with my dad, excuse me. And I'm bringing it up to speed, but I was like, yo, he's not dunking on anybody. He's not dunking. I'm like, what in the world's wrong with Russ? You know what I'm saying? And Paul George, he did his thing in the elimination game. Actually, people forget he had almost 40 points and 70% shooting, but we remember the Dame Lillard shot, and it was a crazy shot in Paul George's comments. But Russ, like, he fell into a personal battle with Dame, but his athleticism, like, I've never seen this, and at that point, I think he was only 30. I think he was only 30. Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on? Now it turned out that he had been injured. And then obviously with Houston, he played a certain way and then he was injured. So I'm like, okay, so if he's injured, some of his explosiveness leaves him. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I might have been a little premature in some of the explosiveness. But then now, fast forward 2 more years or another year, now it's starting to wane a little bit more. And then you look at just the point guard play. Okay, here was the biggest predicament with the Lakers because the point guard is the orchestrator of the offense. LeBron James has in terms of basketball IQ at the point guard position, one of the highest of all time. Some people will say the highest, et cetera, whatever, but he has one of the, I would say, top 5, right? There. So why would you take it literally makes me it's almost like it's so stupid, man. It's like, why would you take the ball out of LeBron James' hands? Like, it makes no sense. If you have LeBron, you have to run the LeBron system. I'm sorry, you run the LeBron system. It's proven to work when you have the pieces, but you don't have the pieces. He tried to play off ball, to your point, so he could get scoring record. All right, so you play off ball, but now that means that you're going to lose more because you're putting it into someone who's not a good decision maker. He can make plays, but he's not making the right decisions, and he's going to turn the ball over. So now you have 2 turnover pro players on the court. Then you have Dwight, who, Dwight, he can play defense, but then he can't hit the free throws, so you can't have him late in games. Okay, then Russ can't hit the free throws. LeBron, he's always been a shaky free throw shooter, streaky. So it's like, yo, it's crazy. So, like, the best thing for the Lakers is you have to have LeBron at the point. I would have Malik Monk at the 2. There's another guy on the team. I forgot. I wouldn't put Ariza, but there's another guy you have to have at the 3. Then you would throw Melo in there, and you would just have to throw.
Malik Monk.
Yeah, you had to throw Dwight there, whatever. AD, when he wants to play. But that's the thing. You have to run LeBron at the point. The problem is, which I think we all agree, is you put LeBron at the point, okay, he doesn't want to be on the ball because he's like, well, I'm going to tire myself out. Well, you're going to tire yourself out scoring too. So, yeah, guys, like, the roster, once again, they have a roster issue and they're trying to overcompensate for that. And they're trying to sell, like, the Lakers fan base dreams of, okay, well, we're going to get this player, we're going to get that player. And so, like, your point, what you were saying earlier, what's with, like, the Laker fans and saying, okay, well, just give it more time, more games and all that. Well, you have to understand what Laker fans, let's be honest, you will have, I'm going to say with all due respect, there is 55% of Laker fans are rational, and then 45% are the delusional ones. They're literally delusional. And that's why other fan bases, they despise them, because they always believe they're going to get star players, and they always believe that they're going to win a championship every year. And so they don't know how to break the game down like us three. They don't really get that concept. So that's why they're like, oh, well, wait, 30 games, or, man, LeBron James, man, he's going to lead the team to greener pastures. I'm like, no, like, even for LeBron, you're asking too much. I know for much is given, much is required. And I'm not saying he shouldn't coach his team up and everything like that, but you don't have anyone to trade. Like, you're allowed to use the trade deadline. You're allowed to use those things. Yes, use those at your disposal, but it's no one else's fault but your own if you don't have the assets to, to get anybody like a Jeremy Grant or things of that nature. So yeah, it's a roster thing, guys. It's a roster thing, guys. They don't have the requisite pieces to be a contender for a championship, and they don't have the requisite pieces to beat these young teams, because the teams ahead of them, man, they just go at it, man. All these teams have young guns, young wings that can shoot the 3, that can put the ball on the floor. They're cooking. They have the intangibles. They're fearless. And this is a perfect time to go at the Lakers right now, right? And I think that's kind of, they see that as a notch in their belt. if they can come into Staples Center and just attack them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the team is like you said, my man. It's a mess right now. So we'll see if they make the playoffs. Right now, I think LB showed that what the 8th seed, the 7th seed, one
Yeah,
of
they in
those.
the AC.
AC. Okay. So yeah, that would put them up against the Warriors, which obviously they play the Warriors. That would be a sweep. If they get higher, they could play. I remember, all that talk on the sideline to Cameron Payne. They still haven't beaten Phoenix. If they play the Grizzlies, we know what Ja does. So I'm just saying, like, the team that they would have to be matched up with in like a first round matchup, if they get through the play-in and all that, it doesn't do them well. They would have to play like just a Denver, because Denver got swept last year with Jokic. That was embarrassing. So they would have to play like a Denver. They don't want Luka problems because Luka elevates his game and he would mentally mess with Russ. But yeah, man, the Lakers, without going on and on, they're not a good team, man. They're just not a good team.
Also you also missed that once they once they traded JaVale McGee,
Yeah.
the big man, who was a very good defender. Now you're losing some key defense away, and you got DeAndre Jordan, who barely plays, and then the only thing you have is Dwight Howard. That's why you see LeBron play center. That's why you see, and to me, I would never put AD at center because that's not his role. He gonna get hurt too much, And seeing that proves that no center probably this isn't his position, because now you don't have a big man. Now you don't have that big man on the 5 that can play defense for you, and that's going to lead certain problems. And also, for the game, back to the game with the Kings, I feel like second half was horrendous. Like like I said, Russ terrible. Like I said, Frank was late to make. Like Bogut was late to make adjustments and like changes, and like Dwight and Stanley should have gotten more minutes. I should say, and then and also Russ not playing the catch, and then but having a record with 21-21, and it's gonna get tough. It's gonna, like you said, it's definitely gonna get tougher. Because it's been it's been very tough, because like you said, you having these key players, because you have like I said, 3 guard lineup. You had Rush, you had Rondo, you have at the time Isaiah Thomas, as their normal you got them as your normal small forward, and that's gonna be a problem. It's not really causing that was like really costing like the rosters, because like what is y'all doing? Because like I said, they just picking everybody. They just picking like player, like, hey, play for Lakers. Like it's like a teacher. It's like somebody, like a coach or something, walking up to kids on the block like, hey, you want to play? Hey, you want to play? Hey, you want to play?
Right.
Instead of
Yeah.
instead of just saying, okay, what does he do can bring on the team, instead of bringing the key facts, like what do you want on your team. So if I was the Rob Pelinka, if I was Rob Pelinka, I would say, okay, first of all, we need a big man. We need a big man that can get the load off on defense. And second of all, we need a shooting guard. Because THT that ain't it. He need to be coming off the bench. Um, you know, also, I wouldn't got Russ. I would not got Russ. I would just kept Rondo, because that's a true point guard. He knows what to do. Because he played, because he because he was there with the championship, so he knows what to do and knows how to perform. And
What's crazy about the
yeah.
Rondo and like the Russell Westbrook signing was crazy.
Yeah,
Obviously, like there was a lot of people who said it wasn't going to work because he's an inefficient shooter and they're both ball dominant, turn the ball over. Well, that was kind of stating the obvious. But if you look at the landscape of the point guards that they had a chance to get, they could have got any of these point guards. The names they had, you had obviously Kyle Lowry now, and with Lowry though, I understand the age situation, so that does not help them age wise. However, Lowry always could play good defense because he knew how to take charges. He always was a good defender in Toronto, and he's smarter. He always destroyed LA when he came to LA. He could hit the three, so he's a better shooter. He makes better decisions and he takes charges. So that's cool. If you want to go with someone younger, you had a Spencer Dinwiddie that you could have gotten, played well in Washington. LB would know about Spencer. And then even yes, a reunion with Lonzo. LeBron would play off the ball, have to play off the ball, but we see Lonzo hitting 40% from the three, playing with confidence. Always been a really good defender, excellent playmaker, likes to push the ball and transition. And there's like one or two other guys, I think more mid-tier guys like a Ricky Rubio, guys of that nature. I'm not saying that Rubio was ever Westbrook's level, but I mean he did outsmart him in a playoff series. So just the you're talking about like the mental part of the game, that's key. The only thing with Rondo, I had no problem with them. Like if I was the Lakers, you bringing him back, he just can't play a full 82 game season. So you would have to have gotten one of those other guys, probably that I mentioned, with a Rondo, and then alternate, in the lineup. You could put Rondo in as a closer and have somebody else as a starter and things of that nature. So yeah, I think we agree. Like Russ was just a bad signing. He was, quite frankly, him and Washington just running with the young guys there was better than him going with the older team here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. It was in the playoff, and I was one of those people that say no, it wouldn't work because like I say, you got one player, you got this one player, he's older, he had been through the finals, he knows, he has championship experience that you
Yeah.
need on your team, and also he's a legitimate point guard. He don't mind just passing, he don't mind just scoring less. He's just a pass first guy. Ronald's a pass first guy. He'll pass. You set the tempo off, for LeBron and AD, and them guys. And now you bring in this guy here, Russ, a little bit younger and athletic, but he's not a legitimate point guard. He's more like a combo guard. Athleticism. Can't really shoot. Not really. Can't really shoot that good. Can't really shoot that good. His free throws is horrible. You know. No, but but he has the energy. He's very fast, and that's why I said it didn't really connect. That's why I always always say that I think that Russell should be with the second group. With the young guys. I said put Russ with the young guys because it worked with the Wizards because they was in the playoffs. I said let him work with the young guys.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
let him see and visual. Okay, this is how the system plays around the Lakers. Like, okay, this is how the Lakers. Okay, and and I feel like they would have, it would have worked. You know, and no, but trading Rondo and then trading people like trading Rondo. That's very like now who's Russell's backup?
Yeah, he doesn't really have any backup,
So
That's
now
like
you now
literally
you trying to
Kendrick
burn the
Nunn.
man out. Now the man's gonna get burned out.
Yeah. Kendrick Nunn, he's obviously been hurt
He
and
always hurt,
LeBron.
but yeah, Kendrick
Yeah,
Nunn's injury prone. He always get hurt.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's crazy. The point guard position is the most important position on the basketball court. And also when you look at the all the you know the great teams or the teams that are playoff teams, like it's like I'll give you another one, like a team that's been kind of on that same level in terms of just standings wise, like the Clippers, right? What was the Clippers biggest thing for them? It's like, okay, the point guard play, people kept saying they needed a playmaker. Now with them, they're running certain aspects, well, at least when Kawhi's there, they run certain aspects for a triangle. So I get why they necessarily didn't have like a great point guard. But you look through the landscape and you're like, wait a second. If you go through the West, if you go through the East, every team has a point guard, including the Lakers. The problem with the Lakers is they just got the wrong point guard. But every team has a point guard. Why? Because you still need someone to run that ship. Like if you're gonna go up against Memphis, you need someone who can go at Morant. If you're gonna go up against the Warriors, you need someone who can go against Steph. The Mavericks, you have Luka. Now the Denver Nuggets, they have Facundo Campazano, nice little role player, horrible shooter, but he's a hustle guy. You know what I'm saying? So, with the exception of them, like all these teams in the Western Conference that the Lakers are in, they have point guards. The Kings have De'Aaron Fox that puts a number on them. You know what I'm saying? So, and I would say the most underrated point guard in the league. He's just on a bad team because his system is outdated. Deontay Murray, guys, is another guy that the Lakers, if they actually they don't have the assets, but if they actually had the assets to trade him, you know, alternate universe, that dude's averaging 18 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 9 assists, almost 20, 10, and 10. He's 6'5", and he's always been a really good defender, and he's finally got his shot down. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's point guards that the Lakers, like, they just don't have, like you said, like a someone with Rondo's like acumen who could really, help that team out, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like they don't need a superstar point guard, just solid, like you said, like guys you say, Rubio, Rondo, Dinwiddie, them guys that can really simple. That's all they just need. You already got your superstars. You already got your all-star. You don't need another all-star point guard. You just need some solid.
Yeah, you don't need to build a super team.
Yeah, you just need a solid player, and also, like I say, I always like I said with I like what Shaq said. He said, okay, who's their 1-2 punch? LeBron and AD. Okay, LeBron played. Where's AD? And
right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish, Sterling. Go ahead, finish, man.
Yeah, and AD, and also, I can't really blame Russ all the time about the team losing. Not just only Russ. Not just only Vogel. It's very involved around the team, and also AD. It's the problem with AD that you just can't get healthy. Because if you can't get healthy, then you probably might retire at a young age. So, so I think he let the championship get to him.
Yeah, he's satisfied. He got the championship. He's married.
It's his first, because it's his first one. And he's so satisfied. And boom, once they moved him to center, I knew he was done. I knew once he moved to center, I said his leg can't catch up. I said his legs can't get. He got the old man legs because it's always him falling on the floor. And I remember I used to tell my friend I used to bet like I said I bet $20 he fall 5 times on the floor. That's just that I'm just saying that's just he loves he loves always falling the floor. He loves the floor.
Right.
It's like, come on, man. Like you a very good play. Good go down the low post and you're very skilled on the post, on the low post. And you can play the center. Like you could go low post. You could confuse people with. And seeing that was very disappointing. It was very disappointing to me, but hey, man, who knows?
Yeah.
So what do the Lakers need to do to fix this? Because all the problems they had, it seems like, despite the issues that they have, it seems like that is not unfixable. So how do they fix this?
Move to Seattle. No, but in reality though, you got to look at, I think, what you do if you're Rob Pelinka, the GM, right? So you have to use what you have available. When something is a mess, you got to see, okay, who can I realistically trade, right? Who can I realistically trade? You got to look at some of those young guys on the team, and you got to see, okay, how many of those guys are really going to be on the future of the team? Can we trade a THT and package him for a pick? You're going to have to, I would say you have to get rid of him. I'm looking at anybody on the team that has an expiring deal that you can ship off, even possibly even to a young team, because with young teams, they can always, get rid of those expiring deals. They can get picks, etc. So I'm looking at those kind of things. I'm seeing if I can acquire either draft picks, because they're not going to win the championship. Either acquire draft picks and flip those draft picks. They're going to have to probably do some 3-team trades get some defenders. But the first thing is like you said, they're gonna have to fix the defense because when I look at the center position, okay, we say centers, but what center can they realistically get? Because my favorite center in the league outside of Joel Embiid, because I think Joel Embiid is actually amazing. He's just stuck with Simmons and Doc Rivers. Is Jared Allen. I like Jared Allen at Texas. I like Jared Allen in Brooklyn. I thought they did him wrong.
Oh, hold on, yo! I got some breaking news.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Breaking news into my timeline. Atlanta sends Cam Reddish, Solomon Hill, and a 2025 second-round pick to New York for Kevin Knox and a 2022 first-round pick.
Wow, they finally did it. They
got rid of Cam Reddish.
Yeah. That's huge.
I knew it. I knew
that's huge. Because they couldn't keep both of them because that was one of those situations where if you look at the Hawks, LB and I'll tell you as well. Me and LB, we were talking. I think before the season, we did our standings, our rankings, and I said the Atlanta Hawks on paper, they were on pace to win 58 games last year. They had 9 players over 20 not 20 points per game in double digits. They had a 6-man. But the issue was they were going to have to make a decision between Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, right? Because they couldn't keep them both, and they drafted I think Jaren Johnson, that dude from like Duke, that other guy. So they just had all these.
And they signed Bogdan Bogdanovic too.
Yeah. They had so many wings, so it's like the team is good, but you're so deep. Like teams just aren't deep like that deep. Like so, someone has to go, and it's going to come down to who's always hurt. But they both got hurt, so they finally flipped it. I like Kevin Knox. He's a shooter, so that gives him some more 3-point shooting. But I think the draft pick that they get is going to be key here as well. So yeah, they finally traded him, and Cam Reddish would have been a great player to have on the Lakers, but they don't have anyone to get him. So but they have to, like you said, LB, they have to get some type of defense. And Jared Allen, they can't get Jared Allen, but he's the type of big they need to go up against the Jokic's of the world, to go up against the DeAndre Aytons of the world. When you face a team like the Warriors, you need an inside presence because they're going to shoot threes all day. So they need a big man and they need wing defenders. And I'm going to look at expiring contracts, and I'm going to look at what other young pieces that we might have to ship away if they're trying to actually like just make the team better. You know what I'm saying? But it would only be for the short term, I guess.
Just 2 questions. Well, the first one, I would say, like I said before, get a big man, get a young big man, young solid, no star player, just get a young solid big man. He said about Jerry Allen and also Miles Turner, very young defensively, could play defensively and could do things offensively as well. Think about that, and trade some guys, get younger. Like I say, start getting younger. Too much old players in that Lakers team, like a retirement home. Gonna get rid of that. Also, they said wing defenders and the shooting guard and shooters. You get you some shooters because only shooter I know now, Bron, but also Melo. Melo, but I feel like they need to get some shooters on the team that know who can shoot and play defense as well. Also, finding, like I said, a solid point guard. Find some solid point guards and some solid players that can really come off the bench and not be hurt and injured. Feel like that, in the free agency and some draft picks. And the second one, I knew Cam Reddish was gonna have to go. I knew that, from his rookie season. His rookie season and his second season, I knew he was gonna have to go to Atlanta because they have nothing to offer him. I mean,
yeah, I've always liked Cam because I was telling people if you look at the Duke team, this is no disrespect to Zion, Cam was the most offensively skilled on that team. The issue with Cam, they always say, was like obviously I think it was like the mental part and different things of that nature. But now he got to Atlanta, you could see where he was, and he's someone that could actually give you 20, 22 points a game because he could actually, cook, and he's a great defender, 6'8", long wingspan. Some people have compared him. I'm not saying he is him, but some people have compared some of his game to Paul George. Paul George has one of the deeper bags in the league, though. But yeah, like you said, I've always believed they would have to get rid of Cam Reddish. You know what I'm saying? Let him flourish. I mean, and what team did you say he went to? LB?
New York Knicks.
Okay, the Knicks, right?
Yeah, because him and RJ they're gonna reunite because they both play for Duke.
Oh, right. Well, that's huge because see, you could get and maybe LB will make a video about this down the line because we talk about Zion and him being out of shape, and there's people that believe he's trying to force his way out. And I've always believed that Zion, the thing with him being linked to the Knicks and him gushing about the Knicks and not even like hiding the fact that he likes the Knicks. Like,
I just thought about something.
Yeah, that could be the play here.
What Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett teammates at Duke?
Yeah, that's what I said him and RJ Barrett reuniting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about possibly down the line. They get Zion Williamson in the future. You get Zion, you get Cam, you get RJ, because what do NBA players like to do? It's the buddy league. Let's all team up and play with our friends. You know what I'm saying? Now that doesn't always work because it's one thing to be friends with somebody, but then when you have to play and do business with somebody and chemistry and things of that nature. But hey, if they feel it could work, and obviously they're not superstars yet. And RJ Barrett, I would say, is probably like he obviously he's a starter. I wouldn't necessarily say he's like a role player, but if those three guys go to New York and do something in New York in the future, I'd be interested to see how that goes. Zion could have a bounce back, but that's just me kind of foreshadowing what I think is the play here. I believe that's New York because let's be real, New York always tries to pitch to like the hottest commodity, right? So they're going to try to go after Zion, and they should, right? So I think that was the reason why they made that move. So it benefits both teams probably.
No, like I said, I feel like I knew his time was over in Atlanta, and also I also feel like he should have stayed in Duke. While RJ Zion stayed, I feel like he should have stayed for one more year. No, that's how I feel. I feel like if he would have stayed for like one more year, he would probably been up in the top draft, but no, it doesn't matter. No, good, no, like I said, he's a very good, like you said, very good defender, very good shooter. Love to shoot that. He loves to shoot that thing. And having him in New York with RJ Barrett, that's deadly. That's deadly between them, and if they get Zion from New York, whew.
Yeah, that 2K lineup going to be cold, man. Because even Zion runs some point too, man, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if he gets healthy though, if he gets healthy and gets himself better,
yeah. He just got to get in shape because, like, I'm thinking about it because Kemba. I'm not saying Zion should always run the point, but Kemba's not going to be there for the long haul. So it's like they could do a little like kind of how like how on the fast break the Warriors, like any of them can start the fast break. Even Draymond can start the fast break. Like they could do a couple of different things in New York if they get Zion, man. And then Cam, I'm gonna definitely have to hit up my homie. He's from New York, so I know he's diehard Knick fan. He's probably like the happiest man in the world that they got Cam Reddish. And then we gotta look at the outlook for the Knicks. How that affects their season moving forward. I know they kind of hit got benched by Tibbs. Then he started playing him again. He started to have like a resurgence. So the Knicks, they just need to be more consistent. But I know we all believe that Julius Randle. At least I've always liked Julius Randle. I'm glad he started to get that left hand, but his offensive move, he has about 2 to 3 moves that are very, very predictable. And he's not a number one option. He's some people say he's a 2. You might even say he's a 3, but even when you say you're a 3, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're one of the 3 options to go to on offense out of 5 players on the court, that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But Julius Randle's not a number one option. I know it was his first time going to the playoffs last year. I get that. But it also exposed that he's not a number one option. You know what I'm saying? So if you compare someone with him that likes to shoot the ball, like a Cam Reddish, right? Then you have Kemba and Rose there for the time being. That can kind of help. And then you have Fournier. Fournier is another guy who can shoot the three. Now, Fournier is a guy that I'm not really I don't care for too much. The fact because I know he can shoot the three, but he's always inconsistent. Like he'll have that game, you guys know, he'll have a game where it's like 20 or 25 points. Then he disappears for 9 games. Then he comes back against a team that he usually scores well against and goes off. So
I don't.
yeah, but he's a nice
I don't trust Fournier. He's like Casper. Once you see him, no. I really don't like. I feel the Knicks is I feel like what's the coach name? Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau. I feel like he's gonna burn out. He's gonna burn out. Jr. Julius Randle. He's gonna burn him out. And I feel he's gonna do the same thing with RJ Barrett. He probably gonna burn RJ Barrett out. And he's young though. And so I feel like gotta be careful. Also said also he said he needs to stay consistent. And like I said, same thing for the Lakers. Need a big man. Need a big man. If they had need a big man to to replace Mitch Mitch. And starting getting to be honest, I would never have got Kimber. I know I would have. To me, if I would have kept Emmanuel quickly starting and get Rose off the bench.
Facts.
And that's what I would have done. Because seeing a man quickly playing that Hawks in the playoff, I would have started him. Start young and fresh. Because these young guys they taking over, so start young and fresh. And and then also, like I said, and also, getting the big man, getting the real young big man, to help Mitch Robinson. Also adding Cam Reddish, to a shooting guard, to a shooting guard, I feel like Cam's gonna come off the bench. They not gonna, Knicks, they ain't gonna put him over in Fournier. They should. But I feel like he's gonna come off the bench, score. Not a bad pick.
Yeah, I agree with what you said about the big man situation because it's not so much a lack of talent in Mitchell Robinson; it's a lack of availability. And the best
He just hurt. He just hurt too damn much.
Exactly. The best ability is availability, and every time I look, he gets hurt. I tell my homie all the time, I'm like, look, man, I'm not only a Knicks fan, but he's always going to stay hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because you had a lot of not Bulls fans, excuse me, Knicks fans who believe they were going to even be better this year. And I was like, no, they're not going to be better this year only because, right, the other teams, okay, got better that are better than them. Like the other teams in the East got better. So sometimes you can add a guy like a Kemba Walker to Randall, and on paper, like, okay, we got better, but the other teams got better, right? The Bucks got more confident, and then the guys that you rely on, like you said, Mitchell Robinson, he's always hurt. So if you're going to be in a conference with a Joel Embiid, with the most dominant big and Giannis is really going to force all these teams to get big men. They're going to, I would say, like, let's be realistic. People are going to start having about 2 to 3, maybe even 4 different big men, just to, to take fouls on Giannis, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they need that with the Lakers and Shaq back in those days. Giannis is more Orlando version of him, not the 2000 version of him, Orlando version of him. But still, same thing applied in Orlando. Teams started to acquire bigs that could really just, okay, we got to take a foul on this dude. Make him shoot the free throws. You know what I'm saying? Even if he's getting better at them, just make him shoot the free throws, right? So Mitchell Robinson, if he's not there, who do they have? Do they still have Nerlens Noel there? I think, but he plays like limited minutes, and Nerlens Noel is always hurt, right? So you, like you said, big men. If you're in the East and you're going up against Embiid, you're going up against Drummond. Drummond's not really
Giannis,
like that.
Yeah.
Rebounder Giannis. I feel like I'm missing someone else.
Bam. But he's hurt. But yeah,
Bam. Vucevic when he wants to play.
Yeah.
You need a big man. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely get a big man if you're the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, thanks for bringing that news, LB. That was big. That's a trade that actually makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, man. It just that was something that came out of left field,
Yeah.
especially considering how the Atlanta Hawks have been playing this year. They've been a big disappointment. Matter of fact, they've probably been one of the biggest disappointments in the NBA up to this point.
Yeah, they are for me. They're for me because I remember, like I told you, I was on here and I was like, look, man, I really believe they would be top 3. Every other team actually gone the way I predicted it, but the Hawks were. It's their disappointment, man. They're a disappointment. There's no reason why they should be losing the way they're losing.
Right.
Quite frankly. So yeah.
Um.
Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Like I said, healthiness in injuries. DeAndre Hunter. I feel like I think they need to rebuild. Isn't quite in the winning mode. Because you got all the keys, you got all the sets. Now the problem is, like I said, the 4 and 5. You 4 and 5, which is developing. I would develop. I would develop Hunter in a Kongu. I would develop those guys. I would develop those guys. Simply fix trade. I just simply just um I would simply just trade trade for simply just trade for a second star surrounded trade. Like grab get it get to me. I feel like get a superstar that can help Trey and that get Trey low off his back.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like John Collins is not it. Good player. No, he's very good. Don't get me wrong, very good player.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Very good player, but I feel like it's time for them to be separated and get traded.
Yeah, Trey should be playing 1-on-1 every night the way that I mean Curry, they have 5 guys on him, but I'm like when Clay comes back, you saw the attention, how much less attention Curry has on Clay's there. They need somebody that can really just like, okay, whoa, we now we have to play Trey Young 1-on-1. This sucks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they need another wing.
Another wing. No, they already got wings. They got
Yeah, they got.
Yeah, I just said the 4. I just say 4 and 5. Big
4
man.
and 5. Yeah,
just develop. Yeah, just develop Hunter in on Kongu.
Right.
Just develop both of them.
And Jalen Johnson's going to be a beast, man. When he gets in, that rookie they got Jalen Johnson, but he's when they drafted him, I'm like, man, you guys got long wings coming off the bench like crazy. You got
Tariq
wings
Cooper
team like.
I feel like but I'm gonna say this.
Yeah,
I know people going not gonna remember. People gonna underestimate me.
right.
I feel like once Sharif Cooper get his opportunity, he's gonna be a problem. I'm telling you. Y'all think Trey might be the problem, but this kid right here.
I can see that. I don't think that's far off.
He's a little bit more. He's a little bit more like Trey, but he passes. But he passes more than Trey. Passes the ball, love to score. No turnovers, no dealing with turnovers. But he could definitely really get the job done. I feel like, but I feel like I feel kind of bad for him because he's behind Trey. So
yeah, I could definitely see that, and he learns too. You know what I'm saying? So he gets a chance to see that game. But once he gets the opportunity, once he actually really gets into that fire, you know what I'm saying, and gets the minutes, I could definitely see that happening, man. I wouldn't say that's too far off at all, honestly.
See, mama worry, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Now Cam going, you can get some minutes. Like I said, you can get some minutes and some playing time because Hey, he's gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Big time, big time. All right, guys. Well, I gotta go. I gotta dip out, get ready for work. So, hey, LB, thanks for letting me hop on, man. I appreciate it. Definitely gotta do another stream again, man, and chop it up with you.
Oh man, it's always good to have you on, my brother. Always great chopping it up with you, and I love your basketball intellect. And you're one of the few people I can sit down and have a discussion with without bias or cheerleading or date licking. So I appreciate it, man.
Hey, I appreciate you guys both, man. It was great talking to you. Pleasure talking to you guys, and definitely I'll holler at you guys again for sure, for sure. All
All
right,
right, salute,
stay
bro.
safe.
All
Yeah.
right, I'm on that note. I'm about to get up out of here. Too Sterling Young. Any last words?
None, man. Wish you well, man. That's all.
I appreciate you for coming on as well. I thank you all. Thank all you guys for being a contributor to the channel. Um, you guys, I only exist because of you guys. And if you guys weren't liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, sharing these videos, then I'm just another motherfucker here just talking shit. But I appreciate you guys giving me the legitimacy and the platform to give to put out the content, because somebody got to challenge the mothership. On that note, smash the like, hit the subscribe. Shouts out to the LDBC. All right.